Welcome, 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 everyone. This is Under the Scope. Glad that you are here. We're here for another Saturday, 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. How you doing today? I am your host, Kimberlon B. I am a licensed professional counselor in Phoenix, Arizona, and wanted to bring people that have a story, knowledge, talents, and whatever, and their contribution to mental health. And what I like about Under the Scope is that I reach people, I mean, anywhere on the globe that's willing to say yes and come on and to help me move this movement about reducing mental health stigma forward. Um, any information on Under the Scope is for conversational, inspirational, and educational purposes, and it does not substitute from seeking a higher level of care or even law enforcement or whoever you need to seek. It's this is not a replacement for that, but we will have information for you if you do need to reach that higher level of care. Or you can look for me on Facebook, Kimberlon B, KIMBRALON BLPC, and you can send me a message as well. All right, so under the scope, we have dynamic people that come on the show. We started in August and we've had like amazing people come on the show. But periodically, when we have different months, and it's not excluding none over the others, but I do like to bring attention to those awareness that we really don't hear a lot about. In January is not only the beginning of the year, but it's also National Human Trafficking Month. And I think we need to bring awareness to this because this is something that go like under the scope as well, no pun intended. And because it happens everywhere, it happens in all walks of life, it happens just everywhere. And I think that we need to do and use every outlet to bring attention to human trafficking. So I'm going to go ahead and get the train moving. And what I like to do with this show, so we have a dynamic speaker who's coming to share her story with human trafficking. She's a survivor. I don't say victim. She's a survivor because she got out and she has a story to share about it. And I hope even through this we can debunk some of the myths that associated with human trafficking, and also tap into some of the mental health um, things and challenges that people face that may contribute to someone going into human trafficking or a result of being in human trafficking. So, I'm huge on collaboration, and who knows that just because I'm the counselor, I don't have it all, and it's a team that works with me, and I appreciate them greatly. So, what I want to do today, it's a change of format just a little bit. So I'm going to turn it over to a special guest who will turn it over to our special guest. And I would like to bring to under the scope um, Kathy. I call her Pastor Kathy. I really call her sister behind the scenes. And she's really awesome. Community leader, pastor, advocate, volunteer. I mean, she does everything. And she will literally give the shirt, the socks, the shoes, the everything she can give off her back to help someone else. And so she's actually the I call her the expert for human trafficking because I know she's done research about it and she's actually done work into it. And so I wanted her to just let us know here on Under the Scope a little bit about human trafficking, and then we'll turn it over to our special guest. Pastor Kathy?
Thank you so much for having me, allow me to share. It's always awesome to be on this platform. So much wealth and knowledge that we can share with the community. So thank you so much, Kim. It's always an honor to be here. And not only that, in such a time as this, when we're dealing with pandemics and we're dealing with other problems, But even in the midst of pandemic, there are still ongoing problems in our society, in our community, that although we may be focused on just COVID right now, there are other things like human trafficking, that which is in our community has, I mean, when I say this is the biggest $1 billion market, you know what I'm saying? When I get off the line, I'm gonna share two words with you. I want y'all to research. Sometimes people don't understand. Sex is money, and people will
Mm.
use that tool to make it. Two forms. One, people want it because, hey, I just got to have it. Some people need it because they need the money. Okay. We deal with a society, we have a lot of young people. When they age out of the system, when they be in foster homes, but when they turn 18, and this is my experience with dealing with a lot of young children and youth on the street, and you wonder why they're on the street. Well, once they turn 18, the check stop, these parents, foster parents, put them in the street. So therefore, they go to homeless shelters, and that's where I received a lot of girls in the homeless shelters, and they have nowhere to go. They don't know what to do, so they find themselves finding a way, another way of survival, and that's going into getting connected to other links um, of forms of trafficking, and they get connected with they call Romanos, but they're pimps, you
Mm.
know. Also, another thing, social media is a hot, hot, hot where we're trying to connect our children and grown folks, trying to connect and find love, but they find it in the wrong place. And therefore they get caught up in human trafficking, where this one connecting to that one. And then that love is fake love, fake news. Now there's another one I would call it a low level. Well, we just mean person to person, but you got an upscale level, what I'm talking about. They call sugar daddies and they call them sugar babies.
Mm.
Sugar daddies are the rich men that have college girls that are called sugar babies, and they have an online site, and they will pay them whatever amount and take care of them, which is still another form of, trafficking, but they cover it up. So sugar daddies is sugar babies. Yeah, that candy, that sweet stuff, that eye candy we like. Yes, it's actual a business, And then therefore, our children who's innocent just want an education. They want to survive. They want love. Get caught up in a high standard or a low standard of a Romeo, and they end up getting pimped out, and they end up turning into this person's slave. They get bought into it. And some of them escape, some of them don't escape. So with human trafficking, it is real deal. It's going on even now. And the worst thing during this pandemic, these girls are having it hard. And the reason why they're having it hard right now is because some of them are stuck in. When they had the shelter in place, which we need to be sheltered in place right now, they were sheltering it, they couldn't go anywhere. So therefore, there was no escape. And most of them, they have their arrangements with the pimps, with these, their clients. They're more open to COVID and getting sick and dying. And don't just think that it's just men in the street. There's uncles, there are brothers. I got a young lady on my team right now. She minister coast to coast. She prays. Years ago, she escaped. She had a story where her own husband sold her into trafficking. Sold her. So this is not, I know we're days away. We talk about Dr. Martin Luther King and how we're free. But you know what? Be thankful for freedom for yourself. Because right now, as you speak, a girl is being sold. A woman is being sold. A woman is being abused. And it's so easy because it's a manipulation system. And then I won't talk too much longer, but that's just a sugar coated. There is a number. I think they're going to put it in the comments. There's a
Mm-hmm.
national number you can call, or you can call your local number of trafficking. And sometimes even that goes and coincide with domestic violence as well. Or you can call 211. The number 211 would connect you to the national hotline for trafficking. Normally, what trafficking would do, they would, once you contact them, they would try to connect you to the YWCA, YMCA, YWCA, if you're male or female, and get you connected in there for shelter. So, and they have a plan. You know, they call one of it, you can look up as Polaris, Polaris. Polaris is the actual organization, national organization over the entire human trafficking. So if you have someone that experiencing trafficking and you say that family looks strange, because they're going act like they're a family, but that's actually a pimp or a boyfriend or someone that, you know, hey, do a silent witness call or something like that to help someone out. Okay. So right now, without further delay, did you want me, Kim, to go ahead and introduce?
You can. You can. Because I know we both have a connection, but you can.
Okay. So at this time, like we say, Kim and I thank God for her wisdom and her being a counselor. She have helped me. We have an organization I call Dream Girls of Fly, and she's just been a lifeline of me. And so when it comes to the counseling and advice, I go to Kim. So spiritual, although I'm a pastor, there's some things I don't know, or some things sometimes I get so mad about what society is doing to our people. I get hot. So I said, Kim, come help me balance me out because I'm about to go off. But anyway, what I do, and she's right, what I do, I am an advocate for women. I don't care. I've been through 10 years domestic violence. I've been through abuse. I've been in a shelter ministry with women over 12 years and serving the community. And this particular young lady, beautiful young lady, we're going to introduce you. I had a connection along with Kim. Actually, we went to the same church years ago that we served, all three of us together on the same team to serve others. And she wanted to just share her story about trafficking and how she got connected into it. So it's just easy to get drawn in. And
Mm-hmm.
so she has been my baby for years. That's why when it comes to our youth, we need to take time and listen out what they're saying and no judgment. We can't judge people when they come on Facebook or online and say, hey, I need help. Let's be that open door. So
Mm-hmm.
Tiffany is awesome. I'm so proud of her. She's going to tell you her journey. I thank God for allowing Kimberly and I to be a part of her journey. And we was able to help her during a time that she needed the most. And we just so proud of her, how she have moved forward, how she have pressed her way, how right now she's in power. She's doing that. She's doing the do, y'all. And see, that's what it's about. We fall down, but we get back up again. And that's what we're talking about. So right now, I introduce you to Tiffany Hawkins.
Thank you, Mom.
You welcome.
Stop it. Okay. I
I'm both
mean,
y'all mom.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know where to start. I mean, it. Okay, I guess we will start where it all started. I mean, in reality, I just want people to know that because I won't say because of how I grew up, but the lack of, I guess, like male influence, like the lack of a male influence definitely played a role in this whole situation. Because me, I was just looking for any type of love. Like I was accepting it from anywhere, the whole 9 yards. Um, but yeah, it started online though. Nowadays, a lot of us young people, we do everything online. Everything has to be online, Facebook, Instagram, and all these different dating apps and whatnot. Um, for me, it was on a dating app. I met the girl because I was really trying to find myself. I was thinking, okay, well, maybe this is how I am. Maybe that's how I am. And, I mean, I think I messaged her first, or maybe she messaged me. I can't remember. Um, but we started talking, and, And just from there, you know, what I thought was a friendship, it really wasn't. You know, I met her. I didn't meet her in person until I met everybody else, but I at least had talked to her. And then little by little, she started exposing certain things about her life, real small details that you would think someone would just try to tell you up front. Like for her, who she was technically like her role was wifey. Like that was her role in this group. And next thing you know, she's stop, put it down. Okay, my bad. Um, yeah, so her role was wifey. She, in reality, her job was just to get another girl. And I was that other girl, you know, she liked my demeanor, she liked my personality, she just liked me as a, you know, what I thought was as a person. But in reality, what she saw was my lack of love. I think at least that's just my gain from it. I think she just saw the lack of love in my life, and I think she saw the almost like the desperate nature, maybe if I could call it like that. But no. So I mean, a couple months went by, and you know, I was invited over at first, but then he ended up coming over to, you know, where I lived and introducing himself to me. And he pretty much told me what this was all about. Oh, well, you know, we just live in the house together. You know, I would be this to you. And we just help each other grow. Like, that's how he kind of explained it to me. He kind of explained it like almost like a group of friends that just want to help each other. That's how he kind of explained it. In reality, that's really not what it was. But even though it wasn't like that, in the back of my head, I'm just like, you know, I really don't care. But, you know, I come to the house, and the first night I get there, you know, I'm just influenced very badly. I was supposed to go to work the next day. I didn't go to work. I called out. Um, and you know, you take the jobs that he wants you to take because like your paycheck no longer belongs to you when you get in the group, but they don't tell you that until after you're deep into the situation, and after you become acclimated with all the girls and things like that. They tell you these little things slowly, that I guess to not try to run you off and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I did end up leaving the group after about, I want to say 6 months. I want to say 6 months I left. And it's because I felt like I had a different calling in my life. Um, and I ended up getting with, you know, my boyfriend at the time. We ended up breaking up 6 months later, and I actually went back because of how badly the situation with my ex-boyfriend ended. So, and they came and picked me up all the way in Maricopa. They just so happened to be going to the casino out there in Maricopa, and they just happened to be passing by. So they picked me up. I went with them, and that's how I went. You know, how me going from Arizona to Ohio to out there with my mom in Alabama. That's how all that started. Is I just ended up going back because they made it easy for me to go back. They made it easy to be like, hey, we still accept you. We still accept you. So if no one else is going to accept you, hey, we're here for you. That's the easiest thing that they do. They make it easy to just be like, okay, well, hey, so and so. I'm about to turn my camera off real quick, but yeah, they just kind of make it easy. You know, I ended up getting my brands shortly after getting back with them, which was definitely a bad idea because now I kind of have to figure out a way to get those off. Um,
Can you, Tiffany, can you explain like what the brands are?
well, there's one on my leg. It's very large, but it's not his actual name,
Hmm.
but it's a name that he's called. So, you know, everyone calls him by the name that's on my leg. My second one was it's on my left arm, but some of the girls we were kind of playing around with tattoo ideas like, hey, we should get this next, or hey, we should get that next. And I ended up putting all of our ideas together. And what I drew is different from on my arm, but that's just because the tattoos are for him or for crew. So he has to tweak it in a way that he wants to make it fit. So, you know, my brand, you know, they're just a representation of him. We would, our outfits were, what's the word I'm looking for? Regulated. So we would only wear certain things. So outside of the house, it didn't matter if it was winter or summer. We usually wore shorts and like sleeveless shirts that showed his name, our other tattoos, things like that.
Hmm.
And he did them. You know, he had his own tattoo gun that he had gotten. And yeah, I mean, some of my brands are a little bit, or the big one, the main one, it's a little more complicated than just him putting his name on me. In reality, the name that he has on me, it represents two different people. And that's just because, I later learned that, had some, he kind of had some mental issues going on. I'm not gonna lie. He did have some mental issues. And it was just like, I don't really know how to take this, because in reality, what I had to deal with was not just him as a person, but I also had to deal with this other person whose name is on my leg. And I know that probably sounds real weird, but I guess the easiest way that I could explain it, and hopefully people have seen this movie because it's been out for so long, but Split would be like the easiest way for me to explain what he was doing.
Wow.
I don't know if anyone has seen that movie.
I have.
Yeah, Split would be the
I,
easiest way for me to explain him.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. So, not only am I dealing with one person, but to him, I'm dealing with like, hundreds of people technically. And he did have seizures. And whenever
Hmm.
he would have a seizure, someone else could come out and, you know, I guess be within the vessel. At least that's what we called his body. His body was the vessel. And so there was a hierarchy. This person was at this level, this person was at that level. It was super like, I don't know. Now I'm kind of like, I really shouldn't have done that. Like that really had a lot of spirits attached um, to him, and because I was there for so long, those same spirits, also attached to me. Like I actually felt strongly about certain um, certain entities or certain spirits that were within him that actually did come out. Like I did feel personally connected to them.
Wow.
And
So the
can I
real
chime
sad.
in?
Oh, were you gonna, Tiffany? I wanted to say something. Kathy, I'll pass it on to you. So you're saying, just so people understand, that the brands that you had, they were different names, but the same person.
Yeah, I just have two, technically.
Okay.
You know, it's his name. His name has a Z at the end. The way he spells it, it's a Z with like a small tail. This
Okay.
other person, whose name was Texas, everyone called him Texas, his Z has a longer tail. And so my brand has a small tail, there's a gap, and then there's a longer tail with it
Okay.
as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Were you gonna say something really quick, Kathy, before
Yeah, I just
Tiffany
want to
continues?
iterate about the branding when it comes to the police, when they brand these girls, that's their identity. So when the girls are picked up, normally police officers can identify their particular pimp by that girl, by the brand, because that's his ownership, that's his tag.
Okay.
And Tiffany, I wanted you to tell them the levels of the house. The name of their
Okay.
group was called Crew. And when
Yeah.
she came in, let her know the wife and then how y'all eat in the levels y'all eat in. Y'all don't eat the same. Share that piece with them, please.
Oh, oh, that's definitely, yeah, we didn't eat the same. We ate the same foods, but the amount of food that you ate depended on him. He, you know, I guess so I'll start with the levels. So Shauna, and I'm not actually saying their real names, so I'm okay with saying their crew names, but Shauna was wifey. Um, you know, her role is what you could think. It's a wife's role. And for her, um, you know, I was more so connected to Shauna. Shauna was technically supposed to start her own crew, and so that's why I came into the picture. But the only woman above Shauna is Izzy, and Izzy is his main, like that's his A1. You know, she's been with him for now I think it's been probably about 8 years that she's been with him doing this and whatnot. She's been doing this with him for 8 years now. And Izzy, her role was to just be whatever he needed her to be at that time, you know, a friend, you know, someone to, you know, sleep with if he wanted to, which he did that with all of us. We all kind of played a certain way in that. And then you also had, you know, when it came to like fighting and things like that. When it came to fighting, Izzy was his main girl. That's who he picked to go to fights with him. Um, and then technically, when I was there, so the order I went was Izzy from highest to lowest, Izzy, Shauna. Even though I was new, I was technically the third top girl. Um, what was his name for me? Uh, it, I can't say it's hard to explain because he said that he's done this before. And so he had three girls that have always been by his side that rocked with him. And he called them Pooh, Kim, and Keela. Izzy, in his eyes, was Pooh. Shauna was Kim, and I was Keela. I was the smart one. I'm the smart one, the tall one, but I'm also very beautiful at the same time. Well, to him, we were ugly, but, you know, or to the world, we were ugly, but to him, we were beautiful. I guess if that, you know, that's how he put that. And then right under me was Naya. Naya was his slave. She was the girl who stayed home, took care of the kids, cleaned up the house, cleaned up after everybody. That was her role. And then whatever he needed her to do, she was there. She wasn't allowed to leave the house unless, she had his permission or if he left. When we got to Ohio, it kind of got a little worse because she never left the house unless he left the house. And right underneath Naya was technically Dariah. Dariah technically was right underneath Naya, and that was his, and excuse my language for anybody who gets offended, but that was his hood bitch. She was the one that, he also took to fights and things like that. Like if something needed to be worked out with a fight, he took Dariah and Izzy, and he also took Shauna. And the way the hierarchy works is how you eat as well. So dinner gets served up. Shauna is the only one allowed to cook for him unless it's certain meals that he really likes from each person. He always gets the first serving of anything. He always gets the first serving. And Izzy gets the serving after him. Shauna gets the serving after him. I technically would get the next serving. Naya would get the next serving. Dariah would get whatever's left. So, if he wanted a big plate, even if he didn't eat it all, if he wanted a big plate, that's what he got. And then you're stuck with whatever you're stuck with, pretty much. Yeah, that's how the hierarchy, that's how the food works. It's really just, it was all a bunch of mind games.
Mm-hmm.
And it really sucks that it had to work like that. And it sucks that, all of us really played along. Like, but it was funny because one of my friends at the time, I explained the situation to her, and she was just like, Tiffany, you're not supposed to take your work home with you. And I was just like, I didn't mean to. I think that's really why I wanted to be there, because I was so intrigued by him. I just wanted to know what was going on in his head.
Wow.
But then with me doing that, I got wrapped up in, what they were doing. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so I know you had mentioned about that you had another calling, or that you had a calling. So, and I know you like being there. What was the final thing to make you say, I need to leave from here and not go back?
Well, that happened once we got to Ohio. Like once he got me away from my friends, away from my family, away from the people that have always been there for me. It's almost like I had this like gut feeling, like, something's not right. I need to leave, like that. But it really started when we were watching a movie, and it was, about a woman that really loves shoes. And I guess you could say it was like her guardian angel and whatnot. She was trying to talk to her about, hey, she pretty much used like every pair of shoes to take her to like a different point in time. So it was like a little Christmas movie. And she had told the lady a story about this guy trapped in the snow. And, the guy, he was trapped in the snow. He was just, he knew God was going to save him. But, a sleigh had come to get him. And he's just like, no, I don't need any help. God's going to save me. The guy on the sled came around a second time, and he was just like, hey, can I help you? The guy in the snow was just like, no, God's going to save me, And then he came around a third time and was just like, you sure you don't want no help? And he was just like, no, God's going to save me. And the guy in the snow ended up dying. And he went to God and he was just like, hey, why didn't you save me? And God was just like, well, I sent the sleigh to come get you 3 times. So for
Mm-hmm.
me, um, I had reached out to mom after I had these gut feelings. And for me personally, I felt like she was my last sleigh. Like, if I did not go with her, if I didn't take her advice, if I didn't do what she asked of me to get out of the situation, I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't necessarily say that I would be dead, but honestly, I could have been. That was very easy, when it came to being in crew. Because shortly before then, when I was having these gut feelings, Shauna, or there was an entity that came out that we didn't know, we didn't recognize, and he almost choked Shauna out, like she was turning purple.
Mm.
And, we didn't know how to get him off of her or anything like that because I guess we put a lot of power into him. So he was a lot stronger than what we really could have handled. And so, I was just like, yeah, I gotta go. Like when Shauna almost got choked out, I was just like, yeah, okay, you know what? I gotta leave. This isn't okay. This is not okay no more. This dude literally just came out and none of us were able to get him off of Shauna. And one of the higher ups had came out and was just like, hey, I don't care what you have to do. If someone comes out that is stronger than you and is trying to hurt you guys, we don't care what you have to do. Knock him out. It doesn't matter. Get them off of you guys, because if something happens to one of you, how can we explain that to the police? Can we explain that to anybody that shows up? How can we explain that to your families? So yeah, that was, for me, mom was my last and final sleigh. So unlike the guy in the snow, I got on.
You got on.
I got
Yes.
on. And I wasn't going to be trapped in the snow no more.
All right. So you got on, and that sleigh went by the way of Pastor Kathy.
Oh yeah.
Was it hard for you? I know it was time for you to get on that sleigh. Was it easy for you to get on that sleigh? Like right when the sleigh was there and you like, I gotta go for this, or I know I'm going to be dead. Was it easy for you to get on it at that point?
No, it wasn't.
Good.
It wasn't. There was actually a couple of times that um what's the word I'm looking for? Like I was leaving, like I had packed up my stuff once to leave, and he had called my phone and was just like, girl, if you do not get back to the house, just come back to the house. We'll sit down, we'll talk about it. I will let you leave, but I want to tell you something before you go. And me being dumb, I kind of went back to the house because the police weren't gonna help. So um yeah, they were telling me that, if it wasn't like a like domestic violence, like emergency situation, then there's nothing that they could really do. So
Wow.
yeah. So I'd walk back to the house and I was just like, okay, well, let me just get this done and over with. And um he honestly had me there for a few more days. But I did end up leaving though. There was a way for me to leave. He ended up going, I waited until he went to work and um, packed up my stuff. Erased, well, I didn't erase the phone that I had, not fully, but I erased like all of my stuff off of the phone. I got my old phone back from Naya, who had my old phone. And then, I went to the domestic violence shelter. I got logged in and everything. And And then from there, I made sure that I did whatever my mama Kathy told me to do.
Okay. All right. And so you went and stayed with Mama Kathy.
Yep, I was with
And
her for a few months.
okay. And after that, tell us the good part that actually came after that.
Well, when I went to go spend time with my mama Kathy, I ended up I ended up meeting a guy while I was out there. Plastic bag. I ended up meeting him like, at my job and whatnot. Um, but we started talking online first, and then I got my beautiful son out of that very silly situation.
That's good. And so you actually moved back home, right? Or well, you
Yeah.
have your own place.
Oh no, I was home at first.
Okay.
Yeah, I was definitely home at first, and it being back at home was just, I can't say that it was weird, but it was kind of weird. Thank you. Just because of my mindset. My mindset was so different from when I first left home. It's like I was a completely different person.
Mhm.
And so I was reacting to my niece differently. I reacted to my mom differently, my siblings, all of that. It wasn't okay. And so I definitely had to, I did start going to therapy because I was just like, you know what, I can't get this out of my head. Like, it's real hard for me,
Mhm.
especially because I don't want to talk about it, not to my immediate mom at least. I didn't really want to talk to her about it, and that's just because I put her through that situation. It She had to literally watch me go from being the daughter that she raised to someone differently, and then back to being her daughter.
Mhm.
So that was definitely hard, but I made it through, and yeah, I ended up say unfortunately I didn't start going back to work because of this stupid pandemic, but I was able to but I was able to save up a little money, got my own place. We're still there in our place, just me and my son, and I'm definitely a lot more easy when it comes to things. I still have some work to do, but I'm getting better. I'm getting better. My mindset is getting better. I'm getting into the mindset of, you know, being there for my family without overwhelming myself, because that's part of the reason why I left in the first place, because I
Mhm.
was doing so much for my family and not a lot of stuff for myself. So now I'm doing
Mhm.
more things for myself. And but my family's still in there. I still include them in my shenanigans, whatever they may be, my little get rich quick schemes or anything like that.
That is so good, Tiffany. And yeah, we got all kinds of kudos in the chats for you. And so, what I
Oh,
do before I open the floor up and people ask you questions, I do want to ask you, Tiffany, what words would you give to someone that's out there that's probably struggling, or someone that may be in that situation now?
um, hmm. is kind of hard. I mean, it honestly, the easiest thing that I could say is trust in God and trust the process. Um, Still have hope. There's a word that I could use. Still have hope. Like no matter how hard it gets, you always have hope. And if not going out there, you always have support, even in the places that you didn't think that you had it. Or maybe you have a little bit of pride issues. It's okay. I have pride issues. I don't like asking for help, but that situation definitely humbled me enough to ask for help, because without the help, you know, you, but if you do yourself, you're not going to succeed by yourself. People are lying when people say that it takes a village to raise a child. If you're in your 20s, you're technically still a child. You ain't fully grown yet.
Uh-oh. I wonder if she was disconnected. Hopefully she'll get connected back on. Kathy, why Tiffany is disconnected, do you want to share anything? Uh,
Yes, I wanted to just share, during that process,
Oh,
when
okay.
we were able to, did a emergency escape for her. She got to the YWCA, shelter. Then I exhibit a plan of escape from that point. Now, when she did get to Birmingham, when she got here on the Greyhound, she traveled, I think, a couple of days, very independent. She listened to everything I said. Once she got here, she's skipping over blessings because she's excited, I know. But through some connections I had here, she was hired to a job in 24 hours. She went, she did the application, she got off a Greyhound bus, we went to eat, she took a nap, she got up the next day by 1 o'clock. She was doing an interview. They hired her and she began to work and just stay on point. The process in it all is that I took her through my own personal program. She went through leadership program, she went to church. Uh, so it was just a lot of things just to help her through those rough edges. Because when you're dealing with something like that, we're spiritually dealing with a piece. Well, we got to deal with those demons, inner demons, of those things that, that will make her want to go back. So I was showing her how God wants her life to be. So you back, Tiffany, you can talk.
Yeah, Tiffany is back. All right, Tiffany. So, Tiffany, we're getting ready to take you under the scope. Are you ready? Because I have questions for you and comments.
Oh, I am ready.
All right. So, the first question is, what advice would you give to a girl who is being trafficked and wants to leave?
Um, Definitely follow your gut instinct. Definitely follow your gut instincts. It's really, I don't think people realize how, important it is to just know what your worth and your value is. And if you love yourself enough, even just a little bit, um, kind of like, how, if you have the faith the size of a mustard seed, like even just that little amount, maybe not your faith, but, and it honestly, it could be your faith. Something has to drive you to be able to leave. You know, if you have a child, you know what? I want to get out because of my baby, or I want to get out because of this. As long as you follow what is being told to you, either from, even if you're not spiritual, if it's your gut, God, it don't matter. More than likely it is God, even if you feel like it's your gut, just follow that, because it won't lead you down a the worst, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a worst
We can say,
cast.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to say my words. Yeah, it's never, your gut is never gonna fail you. If it feels wrong, more than likely it's wrong. So yeah, I mean, for me, I would definitely say follow your gut and take the help that's given to you. Like, I don't care how much pride you have. I I've had to deal with pride for a very long time. I have the biggest pride issue, and I had to humble myself and take the help that was being given to me.
All right. You do have some congratulations in the chats for just getting
Oh,
out.
oh yeah. I mean, once I put my mind to it, yeah, I was gonna be gone. Like, you can't really stop me once I'm going. And that's a good thing about me, and that's also kind of a bad thing, because that's how I ended up staying with them for so long, because that's what I wanted to do. So I was gone. Like, I did it, and I'm back, but that's because that's what I wanted to do. Once I had not proved to myself, but once I convinced myself, like, okay, you know what, this is the best thing for me. Yeah, I was gone. I'm like, I'm
Okay.
not dealing with y'all no more. This is crazy.
You said I'm out. So we have a question from Marcus.
Hmm.
I think. Wait, hang on. Maybe Marcus is coming. But anyone else have any questions? I know I'm waiting for Marcus to come. Questions or comments? If you don't want to ask them yourself, you can definitely ask them in the chat, and I'll ask for you. There's a comment where someone said that I'm so happy. Wait. Oh, I'm so happy that you found your way. Okay. All right,
Yeah.
Mika.
Hello, Tiffany.
Hey.
Hey, first of all, I'd like to say congratulations on being strong enough to leave, because not everybody is strong enough to make that decision and follow through with it. And I would like to ask, so do you think you will ever share your story with your son, or if you should have any other kids for that matter, especially a daughter?
Oh, definitely. Um, Obviously, with him being a boy, I have to, kind of tweak it for him to be able to understand it. But yeah, I definitely plan on sharing that with all my kids. I do plan on having more kids. Not right now, but when he gets a little bigger, yeah, definitely.
Right.
And for me, being honest with your kids helps them. Like, if I talk to my son about this situation, he's probably gonna look at me like, Mom, that's so terrible. I don't like that. I don't want to be like that. And that is my goal, for to have my son not be another, Romeo or sugar daddy, or, I don't want him to be like that. I want him to be able to be strong enough and secure enough in himself and in God that, you know what, I don't need that. I don't need a bunch of women. I don't need to take their money. I don't need to do this, and I don't need to do that. Um, and I can't say I was fully strong enough to get out, because it was definitely hard. There was a point in time when I was at the shelter that his cousin, who lived in the house with us, she and her mom, they were going to pick me up for, Thanksgiving. And it would have easily put me right back in that situation. But I wanted to go. That was the thing. Like, I wanted to see her. She was definitely one of those people that's just like, hey, I'm more about your mental health than anything. So I almost got pulled back in, but because I listened to the advice of my dear sweet mom, I was able to, I didn't go back with her. And, thankfully I got out, just a couple days before Thanksgiving. That way I'm not even tempted to, pick up the phone and, but I'm doing all of this without communication. I have to call, I had to call, my mom and Miss Kathy. I had to call them from the phones at the shelter. I didn't have any Wi-Fi at the shelter, so there was no social media. There was nothing. So it was hard, but I honestly, I had to pray about it, and I just had to keep telling myself, this is what's best for us. This is what's best for us.
Right. Well,
But yeah,
you
but
still
thank you.
you still did good. You came out on top, so that's the most important thing.
Oh
And
yeah.
I have one more question. Do you have younger siblings, like a younger sister, or do you have like younger female cousins that maybe you have shared your story with, or maybe later on down the road you would share your story with?
I only have older siblings. Oh no, I have a younger brother.
Okay.
And he kind of knows the story, but what he knows, he's real biased. He's a man. He's just like, Tiffany, if I ever see him in person, bro, it's going down.
Right.
My
Right.
little brother definitely, he defends me. So, my other siblings, unfortunately, I don't speak to my sister, but if she does come around, then say that. If my sister does come around, then I will definitely be, telling her about it. But that's my older sister.
Okay.
But no, I mean, my cousins, I haven't really shared it with anybody else. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, because some family members, they just won't understand your situation.
Sure.
But I mean, if my family members are open to listening to it, yeah, I will definitely share it with them because I want to be honest and open with my family.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing your story.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Anyone else? I know my internet is like freaking out right now.
Hey Kim,
So,
I'm using my mom's thing real quick. So I
okay.
actually had something to share with you, Tiffany, about that entity that you were referring to. The name of that entity is an incubus, and that it's also a female version called a succubus. What those are demonic sex demons, and they thrive and feed off of sexual energies. So that is
Oh,
what the entity was.
okay.
And I also wanted to say congratulations to you for getting out of that, and congratulations
Hello, I'm just dropping that off for you.
on healthy relationships, and keep up the good work and keep trucking.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I I call them entities, spirits. It's one of those things where I'm just like, I can't even put a name to them because they're just so out of the way for what I'm used to.
Well, I
I
just feel a little gifted in that area, so I just thought I would share that knowledge with you. So
oh
that
yeah,
way,
for
if you were ever to see something like that again, you guys would be able to recognize and know what that is that's out there.
yeah. And when it came to him, just who dealing with some of those spirits, it's not easy. It's very draining.
Yeah.
Like um like technically when it came to my brands, the Duke, well, I didn't call him Duke, I called him Daddy. But for Duke, technically he wasn't, he was one of those spirits himself.
Right.
He wasn't and this is how they explained it, but he wasn't the original owner of
Right.
the vessel.
Right.
Yeah, he said, oh, well, so and so, he's tucked away. He doesn't want to be, he doesn't want to deal with this world. He doesn't like it. They bullied him and stuff like that. It was all so crazy, and figuring all of that out, and some of that stuff you know, I couldn't just ask. I had to figure it out, or they told you.
Right.
That's how all that stuff worked, and it was crazy. But thank you for letting me know what those really are now. It
You're
makes sense now that someone, that when you say it like that, it makes sense to me.
no problem at all.
Wow. Anyone else?
If she has a question, I'm taking her iPad back. Hold on.
I, I think we.
There she goes.
Hi,
Hello. You have a
Tiffany.
question? Uh-huh.
Tiffany, hoorah, hoorah for you. So you said it started out by you befriending the lady?
Um, it was more than just friends. We started talking to eventually be in a relationship.
Okay. For you and the lady to be in a relationship? Was that
Um,
was that a way for her to get you to become part of the crew?
not his crew. Um, and I probably didn't explain it well enough, but she was technically supposed to start her own crew.
Okay.
Like, she would leave the house, eventually she would leave the house, we would get our own place, and we would start doing this with other females as well.
Okay. So is that
Yeah.
is that at the beginning phase of it?
Yeah.
Like when you first met her? So she was getting ready, I'll just say team. So she was getting ready to start her own team to do her thing. So and so then you guys met, but she ended up not doing it, and so she just stayed connected with him.
Yeah,
So
she didn't want to leave.
she didn't want to leave.
Nah.
So did she ever do it again to someone else the way she did it with you as well? Was you get people to start coming to be a part of the team?
You said did she start doing that, or would she?
Yeah. Were you the only person she did that to? Because you said you guys were gonna be dating, right? Or did I misunderstand it? I'm kind of
Yeah, we
bored.
were supposed to.
Okay. You're supposed to have a relationship.
Um, I'm gonna be honest. She probably wouldn't, but right before I left Ohio, that's what several of us started to do. And I'm glad I got out when I did, because otherwise I would have pulled another innocent girl into that situation.
Okay. So it's like a
Yeah.
tic-tac-toe thing. Okay. That's what I wanted to know.
Well,
But
it's
I'm glad you got
you know,
out too. I'm glad you found the strength to be able to reach out and have someone to go to help you get through it.
oh yeah, and believe me, I don't know what it is about my mama Kathy, but I didn't originally call her to tell her about the situation. I just wanted to hear her voice. It was one of those, like, God works in mysterious ways. He
Yeah.
definitely opened my mouth to say those things to her, because I wasn't planning on doing that. I just wanted to hear her voice. I wanted to hear the comfort in her voice. That's what I was looking for. I didn't get
Okay.
that though.
So when you guys, I'm just curious because I don't want, I have questions. So
Oh
when you
yeah,
when you got
go inside.
involved, when you got involved, how were you at that time? Were you in a good place or were you in a bad place at that time?
I was definitely in a bad place.
Okay. Were you like,
Well, yeah, yeah, I was definitely in a bad place. I had just gotten out of a situation with another female, and that hurt. And for me, I'm more like, okay, you know what? That's not gonna work. Let me just find something else, type deal. That's what I was doing, and that's probably why a lot of the stuff that I did or said to her, um, like I said, probably didn't come off as desperate, but my willingness to be that open to a situation like that.
okay. All right. Well, thank you.
And I mean, and I'm gonna be honest, that's what they look for. They look for that loneliness. They look for a place to be filled or
Okay.
a void that needs to be filled. They try to purposely look for that.
And then that's how they bring you in. And then they start introducing with stuff.
Oh yeah. And like I said, they don't introduce it all at once. They slowly introduce it to you.
Was drugs and alcohol involved in it as well?
When he wanted to introduce them, yes.
Wow.
Um, there was at one point one of the girls, her name was, what did he name her? Donna. Donna came in and she had a medical marijuana card. And so she would always get a whole bunch of stuff, bring it to the house, and either eat it or smoke it. And we did blacks the same way. Like someone would buy a pack of blacks and, you know, smoke those as well, just because of stress levels. Um, you know, Shauna and Izzy were the most stressed, but that's because they're directly next to him all the time. They have to put up with the most stuff. And he would always say, like, the closer you are, the harder it is. And he definitely made that very true, because the closer you are to him, the some of the worst stuff could happen to you. um like for Shauna and Izzy, if they were to ever, which they're not going to, but if they were to ever try to leave him, he would probably kill them.
Wow. That's pretty
Because
sad.
that, for yeah, for him, he can't live without his girls, including me. He included me in that bunch too. For me, I was the more so, like, the best friend that you could mess around with whenever you wanted to. That's kind of like our relationship. My relationship with him was very similar to Izzy. That's how similar it was. Because it was more like we were just friends. Like, me and him would play video games together. We He would have us, like, be very creative. Like, hey, instead of going and buying a board game, how about you guys make one up? Okay, cool. I like doing stuff like that. I'm very creative, or hey, we want, a vending machine to go with our game. How do we make that? And for me, my name wasn't Tiffany while I was in there. My name was Shay. So they would just be like, Shay, can you help us with this? Can you help us with that? I'm just like, cool beans. Like, that's really who I was. I was like the creative, like, I keep everything fun chick. But then I also did what I had to do when it came to business. So, um, yeah, it's, I was able to leave, but before I left, technically I was still underneath him, but I was like on my way out, and my hair was braided. and I was talking to his cousin, and I didn't speak to him. But that's because I felt like, you know what? I'm not a part of you. I'm not a part of you anymore. But I still lived in his house. So for him, if I was still in the house, I was still a part of crew, which means, yes, you acknowledge me. And he was talking about ripping the braids out of my head because I did that, you know? Um, it depends. You know, for me, he didn't hit me a lot. He's probably hit me a couple of times. And it would be a open-handed like smack. But for two of the girls, he would punch them in their faces. Like if they ever did something stupid, they got punched in the face. I know Shauna at one point, you know, through like some of the girls like feeling some type of way about certain things that she did to them. A phone got through at her and it cracked the side of her face. And the only person that didn't get hit like that, Izzy kind of got hit like I got hit. She more like got open smacked. Same with Shauna. It's like me, Shauna, and Izzy got openly smacked. But like Naya and Dariah, they got closed fisted. They got closed fist hit.
Wow.
So
Are you still in contact with any of them?
nope.
Okay.
Yeah, zero contact with any of them. I know that they keep tabs on me though. Because I mean, unfortunately, I was still talking to his cousin when I left, and I thought that she would just kind of be quiet about my business, and that really wasn't true. So I did cut ties with his cousin as well. But he ended up finding out that I was pregnant and that I had moved back to Arizona. And he told me, these are the words that came out of his mouth. He said that he was still going to leave the door open for me if I did want to come back eventually. But then I went and got pregnant. You know, he almost made it seem like I purposely went and did that. But he also knew that I really wanted to be a mom, no matter what. Like that, for me, being a mom was almost the most important thing to me. So, and after I found out that I was pregnant, I was just like, excuse my language again, but hell no, I ain't going back. Because the way that he treated those boys, and I'm likely to have a boy, yeah, no, not happening.
Wow. This is now my internet is messing up, everyone. This is really, really good. And I do want to say thank you so much for coming on Under the Scope. And I want to say thank you for coming on Under the Scope, everyone. Sorry for my technical difficulties. It may cut off again, but everyone, I'll see you back next week. I'll be back at home with a better connection. Thank you for staying late. And I want to say thank you again for coming to Under the Scope, where good tea and reads are welcome. And I do have other comments to read to you, but Tiffany, I'll send them to you because my internet is messing up.
Oh, she cut out again.
She did.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. Sorry about my internet problems. It'll be better next week.
What was the last thing you said?
Thank you for coming under the scope where good tea and reads are welcome. Thank you for coming again, and we'll see you next week. My internet's tripping.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, but
I'm
you said
sorry.
something about comments though.
Yeah.
Oh,
She cut
She
out.
said she would send them to you. She said she would send the comments to you.
Oh,
There
okay.
chat. There's comments in the chat, and she'll send them to you.
Oh, okay. Okay,
this is
cool.
definitely a sign for me. So I'll send them to you. Thanks,
Okay.
everyone. I gotta
Thank
go.
you. Bye.
Bye,
Bye-bye. Thank
everyone.
you.
Sorry. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
Great.
Bye.